Right, it's the last Saturday of September in what's been a very strange year. We have been getting some very welcome late September sunlight, and this is Lord Lambourne. I just want to say a few words about this. You'll see there's a lot of fruit on the ground. It should have been picked earlier. As I've often said, if we were going to give this farm a name, the name should probably be something like "We should have done that job 3 weeks ago farm," because that's what's often happening. Having said that, I'm not going to bore you to tears with the stuff I've been doing. Yeah, just to remind you, we're enthusiastic amateurs. I make my money from working in the health service and doing education. I've been doing all that this last week, and it earns me very much more money than this orchard has or ever will. So we neglect things a little bit, but that's okay, because our friend Will be picking all of these apples up for cider, and we quite like to have a few butterflies around. This particular variety, Lord Lambourne, it's one of the probably 5 top fruits to grow. It has a flavour I would describe as medium. The flavour of apples is often described as either aromatic, an apple like Ribston Pippin, Ashmead's Kernel, Cox's Orange Pippin, Suntan, for example, or vinous, which is more the American style. Apples like Spartan, Granny Smith, Wine Sap, Jonathan are often described as vinous apples. The Lord Lambourne has a flavour which is sort of halfway in between vinous and aromatic. I've never known anybody who really didn't like this apple. It's really quite a regular cropper. This has been a difficult year for everyone. What's happened a lot here is a lot of these have split. This is because of very, very heavy rainfall. These apples develop little cracks in them, and that's why we've got so many butterflies and other insects feeding on these. So we're selecting apples which are cracked like that, and these are going in the bin for cider. Oh, what do you think about the Lord Lambourne, Julia?
Been a bit disappointing this year. It didn't have as much fruit as last year, and what we have had has been cracked and affected by scab, which can often be the cause of the cracking.
So the pack out, that is to say the proportion, the percentage of the fruit which is good enough to take to market and offer for full price is low, and that's because a lot of these are cracked, which is a bit of a drag. But what would you say? I mean, I've just eaten one, and the flavour's very, very good, isn't it?
Lovely. Yeah.
Sweet, balanced.
I mean, usually you get a few weeks shelf life with this apple, but these are not going to keep. We've been picking them fresh for market week by week. You can keep them for up to 2 or 3 weeks, but normally we'd expect to keep these a bit longer, but they're not going to this year.
You do that, don't you?
You can't see the cracks.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's little minor cracks which have let fungus in.
Now we can eat that at home, but we can't take it to market.
No.
But once the fungus gets into the crack,
It
then the apple will rot and it's no use. You see, an apple like this, you could eat it now. I mean, I could eat it, it wouldn't be a problem. That's caused by a bite from this wretched chafer bug I was blogging about earlier in the year. And that's a little split where you've got abnormal skin. This will go in for cider. You could eat it and it'll be okay, but if you took this to market, people just would not buy it. I'll go in for cider. But what would you say about Lord Lambourne generally as a...
Overall, it's a good variety. It seems to be fairly self-fertile, so you could grow it if you had one tree. Yeah, it generally crops most years. I'm not sure that it would be my best recommendation.
I'm sort of suggesting it's a good one of 5, and it's not a bad choice. It's one of the apples that if you were only to have one apple in your tree in your garden, it isn't a choice you'd regret, probably.
One thing that we normally find good about this is that it tends to hang on the tree very well. Yeah. So although it has quite a short shelf life, we tend to pick week by week what we need fresh, and you can carry on hanging. Yeah. So that is normally a benefit. So you can pick what you want fresh, leave the rest on for a while. But this year that hasn't happened.
It's a little crack there, but that's okay. So these are for Winchester Farmers Market tomorrow. Yeah. Anyway, so Lord Lambourne, we planted originally 100 of these, but then we decided they were too close together, so we removed every other one. So we've got about 46 of these, and they pay well most years. It's I think quite an attractive tree. It's really a September-October apple. This year everything's a bit early because we're really in the south of England and our soil is light.
It's late this year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
things are catching up, but
yeah.
everything started much later this year.
Yeah.
Because it was cold earlier on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Difficult, yeah. That won't do. That'll go. So anyway, I'm going to stick with recommending this as an apple that, in my opinion, it's one of the apples that should be close to the top of the list of somebody who's thinking about a backyard orchard.